38 past the hour, we are following breaking developments concerning former President Trump's legal cases. In a new filing just this morning, New York Attorney General Letitia James says Trump's request to appeal his civil fraud case should be rejected, and that if Trump cannot pay the $464 million judgment he owes by Monday's deadline, the court should hold his properties to be used as payment. Her filing comes in response to Trump's request to pause the payment until his appeal is complete. Joining us now, NBC's Garrett Haake and David Henderson, civil rights attorney and former prosecutor. Garrett, what does this filing mean, and what's Trump team planning to do if they can't post the bond by Monday?
Well, Jose, I think you summed it up nicely. This filing from the Attorney General's office is basically saying, too bad, so sad about your search for bond. They don't think the search has been serious, but if Donald Trump can't come up with the money through some other outfit who could provide that bond, that the court would be willing, or that the AG would be willing to let the court basically hold some of his property in escrow, essentially hand over the keys to your buildings or your plane, perhaps, until that bond can be found. As for what the Trump's team's plan is, that's a subject of much reporting that's going on even now, because their filing from the other day indicated they've already approached 30 different potential bond outfits to try to find somebody who can put this money up. They simply don't have it right now, and it's not clear they're going to be able to find it before the deadline on Monday.
So, David, if the Trump team can't find someone to put up that bond, and he owes $464 million by Monday, how would that process work legally?
Jose, for anyone else, the legal process is you get told no, and that's the end of it. Appeals are pay to play. You either have to put the money up yourself because you now have a verdict against you to the tune of $464 million, or you get someone else to guarantee that they will back you and be responsible for the money. And that's essentially what we call a bond. It's very similar to thinking about how someone post bond to get out of jail, although the circumstances are obviously different. Something that's also interesting here is a question that you and I have discussed in the context of other cases, and that is people who go to court against former President Trump and win, are they ever actually going to see a dime of the money they get? And it's interesting that 30 different companies suggest that the answer is no, because they're saying we're not willing to be responsible for the money that he's going to owe the court if this appeal fails, because we can't trust him to pay us back.
So, David, come Monday, hey, he doesn't have the money, he doesn't have a bond, he doesn't have anything. What are the steps that the judge could or could not do?
Well, Jose, for anyone else, the answer would be you haven't met the requirements of the law, and therefore you cannot appeal. However, on any number of occasions, we've seen former President Trump be treated differently. And in that respect, that's going to be an ongoing theme with regard to all of his court cases. Not only has he been losing colossally in court, but he's been forcing us to address critical issues with the way that we administer justice in this country, because it's not always equitable. That's the most clear answer I can give you, because it's been very difficult to predict exactly what courts are going to do at any given point in time concerning the former president.
Yeah, and now, Garrett, turning to another case, the Fulton County case. Judge McAfee just granted Trump and his team their request to appeal his decision to keep Fani Willis on the case. What happens next here?
Well, a Georgia court can now pick up this case and review it. And as you just showed, Trump's attorneys are optimistic that this means that perhaps a higher court in Georgia will disagree with Judge McAfee about Fani Willis being able to stay on this case, and that they still might find her removed at some point, which would then require another DA's office in Georgia to pick up this case, and would, I think, functionally lead to this case going away, at least in terms of something that could conceivably happen before the election in November. Remember, Judge McAfee's decision, which ultimately led to prosecutor Nathan Wade stepping down, but Fani Willis staying on this case, was blistering in terms of describing Willis's conduct, more so in the kind of cover-up post-relationship phase of this process, as opposed to the actual actions on which the court got started down this path. All of that now fair game for an appellate court in Georgia to review.
So, David, how would you explain this? What's your reaction to it?
You know, honestly, Garrett covered it pretty well. I do not think it's likely to be reversed by an appeals court. And here's the reason why. They didn't have enough really to go through with this hearing in the first place. If this wasn't a former president, I don't think it would have happened. I do think it's interesting. I've only seen this happen one other time, and it only happens to female DAs when it does happen. But the real blow here is you got to put Fani Willis on the stand. You got to ask her some very embarrassing questions about her romantic life, and people are judging her really, really harshly for it. The practical impact is that Wade stepping down means that she now has to go find someone else who is willing to work on this case. And you heard information during the hearing that indicated nobody wanted to take this case because of the pressure that's associated with it. So I don't expect it to be reversed on appeal. However, a serious blow has already been dealt to the case. The only caveat is that if Fani Willis finds a way forward, which she will, take a shot at the devil, you better not miss.
Garrett Haake and David Henderson, thank you both so much.